Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll see several modern women angry because men aren't chasing them. We'll also hear the story of a woman whose ex-boyfriend, Chad, took her on a trip to Spain after spending a week with another woman in the same country. We'll also discuss a woman who claims men don't make an effort for her. I want you to smash that like button and join the channel by subscribing. Add a bit of your love to the movement. That's the only contribution we ask from you, man. Share your experiences in the comments to guide other men. Without further ado, let's begin.
I figured it out. I know where all of the men who are seeking emotional connection and mental connection and spiritual connection are. Are you ready to hear where they are? They're at home. They're at the gym. They're at work. They're busy healing themselves and they don't have any more time to be seeking out different people at bars or clubs or out in the streets, because that's not where they are. All right, if you are looking for one, find them at your local grocery store, find them at your local gym. All right, this is where they are because they are focused. They are tired of having women take advantage of them. They are tired of getting manipulated, and apparently they have all just dealt with a lot of narcissist people and they're just sick of it. So they're not even willing to put themselves out there anymore because they're so hurt and they cannot get past certain traumas that they've dealt with. Now, I understand this, all right? And I think that's fair, but I think it's actually a really big problem that everyone's hiding, okay? Because if someone is wanting to connect, and if you want this stability or of emotional connection or mental connection, it's important to put yourself out there. And if you're constantly living in your past experiences, you're taking away so much from your present moment. So I truly understand we are all hurting. We are all still healing. I understand that it's scary to put yourself back out there, but if you're not doing so, you're just gonna stay where you are, and nothing that is meant for you is going to get to you because you are putting up this wall, staying your ass at home, or hiding wherever you guys are.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
At minimum, she's a professional motivator. Everything sounds lovely until the man approaches, and the woman insults him or, worse, files a harassment complaint. What she doesn't understand is that seeing life from a woman's perspective versus a man's is different. That's why I say stop listening to advice from women. Many of these women only face rejection from a Chad. If they had to face rejection the way they reject men, many of them would have their self-esteem on the floor. It's easy to say, go after what's yours, it's your destiny. Here, we're not living in a Disney narrative where if you chase her, she'll love you. All that does is make you look like the creepy, weird guy. And don't get me wrong, I always say that throughout life, men become immune to the pain of rejection. It's part of being a man. But now, when rejection can turn into a harassment accusation just because a woman says something, don't blame me for thinking twice about it.
And you're not willing to receive what's meant for you. And I understand women do put these kind of men also in a friends list, in a friends category. And why do you think that is? Because those kind of women also are just not ready for that kind of relationship. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just a sign that that person who you wanted, and I'm speaking to the men right here, the person who you were interested in placed you in that friend category was simply just not for you. You will find your person. But the moment you do get placed into that friend category, keep it pushing, keep on trying. Don't necessarily give up just because that one woman who you wanted did not give in to what you had to offer, because you are enough. You just were not enough for her. And maybe her level is actually down here, and your level, speaking to the men again, is up here. So maybe she just couldn't come up here with you. And that's the thing. Sometimes a man can perceive that as like he's down here and she's up here, when in all truth, it could be vice versa. All right, so if it's just not working out, it's just because you guys are just not on the same wavelength. But you are taking away a lot from your present moment because you're not allowing yourself to experience new moments because you're so focused on your past traumas, and it's so unfair. Like, I need y'all to be present, okay? Just be present and allow yourself to receive, allow yourself to meet, put yourself out there. It doesn't necessarily have to be out at the club or at the bars, because that's just not a vibe. But if you see someone, or if you feel like there's a possible connection with someone, like, make effort, okay? Because these women also do exist, and they're not gonna be out here knocking on doors, although it's tempting. Although it's tempting because you know, some actually do want a connection, but ain't nobody got time for that. All right, so put in some effort, let go of what no longer serves you, be in the present moment. All right, let it go and allow yourself to receive what's meant for you. So on that note, I hope that you were able to take something from this, and if you have any thoughts, leave them in the comments. Peace.
And if you're stuck in the friend zone, keep pushing, keep trying, and you'll end up becoming the simp for that woman who tells you how she's going out with Chad, a guy who brings absolutely nothing to the table, but to whom she gives everything. Meanwhile, you'll be wasting all your time. But who knows, after 30 or more Chads, and you still trying, maybe she'll notice you when she's 35 and needs a beta provider to secure her financial future. These kinds of advice lead men to failure. The first thing you need to understand is that if you're trying with a woman and she hasn't said yes, everything else is a no. There's no middle ground here. If it's not a yes, everything else is a no. Stop wasting your time. One of the most important lessons a man must learn is to give his absence to those who don't value his presence. If someone doesn't add to your life, don't let them subtract from it. Stop listening to advice from women, which only turns you into another woman's simp. Women don't go through the same process as men. Men come to them, unlike us who have to chase opportunities. The perspective is never the same. You're not playing the game from the same starting point. Someone who's starting at level 10 can never give advice to someone beginning at level 1.
There is nothing more humbling than Australian dating. I've been pied 3 times now, and the dates haven't even left the chat. They've been organised, the date's been set, I even bought a new top for one. 2 of them had the decency to cancel. Both said that they weren't going to be good company because they were tired. I'm not sure if that's a universal excuse out here. And the other ghosted. Just ignored. Didn't reply to my message. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. Could have turned up in my lovely new top and been stood up. I don't mean to sound big-headed, but I've never been pied in my life. Maybe I needed this. Maybe I needed to be humbled. But I just feel like the UK and Australian guys are so different. I've heard that Australians are very laid back, but David Beckham drove 4 hours to see Victoria Beckham for 30 minutes. And I can't even get a text back. I'm giving up. The ironic thing is that for once in my life, I'm finally emotionally available to meet someone and go on dates. I actually met these people out organically, so it wasn't even like it was a Hinge date. Regardless, deleting that, I'm a shell of myself now. I cannot possibly organise any more dates. Buying new tops out here.
The comparison to David Beckham is ridiculous. She expects grand gestures without offering anything of equal value. Men don't go out of their way for you unless they already see you as someone of great worth, which clearly wasn't the case here. Instead of playing the victim and obsessing over her humiliation, she needs to realize that men have options, and if they ignored her, it's because they found something better. It's time to stop buying new blouses and start rethinking her approach. Because it seems the problem isn't the men, it's you. This is the 3rd time, and you're not relatively unattractive. There's something you're doing or saying that's throwing men off. Or maybe you're the type who refuses to go on a coffee date, expecting the man to go all out for you. But times have changed, so it's better to start thinking about what you're doing wrong rather than trying to fill the void with more clothes.
So for those of you that know my story, buckle up, I have an update. And for those of you that don't know my story, buckle up because I got a story for you. So long story short, for whoever doesn't know, my ex-boyfriend cheated on me and got the girl pregnant that he cheated on me with, and I didn't find out until she was like 4 months pregnant and we were still dating. We of course broke up though. So recently, as in this morning, I found something else out. And you know, like when you're going through a breakup and new things just keep coming up throughout however long you're broken up. For me, it's been 9 months and I am still finding things out, which is literally terrible. So to cut to the chase here, last year, him and I went to Spain. This was his idea. He invited me to come there because he was there doing some work, and he literally flew me out there. Come to find out this morning, he had this other girl there in Spain right before I got there. So of course I'm sitting here like bamboozled because I'm like, what? So we were basically like taking turns. Like she left and I flew in. I literally don't know whether to like laugh or cry. There is a very special seat in hell for this man. Like I knew things were bad, but like I really didn't think they could keep getting worse. I just personally don't understand how a human being could do these things to somebody that they claim they love and want to spend their life with and just not have remorse. Like, I'm not even sad about it anymore because I've just accepted this is just who he is. But it definitely still messes with my head because I'm like, how? Like, how did we end up here? How did I not see all of this? How was I missing this? And mind you, Spain was like one of my favorite places I've ever visited. Like I loved it so much, I literally wanted to move there. And he completely just ruined that for me. Like literally had another girl there less than a week before I got there. I just personally feel so taken advantage of by somebody that I obviously loved and cared about. And it literally makes me sick.
It's funny because it's true.
The effects of Chad. There's something funny women like to say when they want to leave a man, especially when they already have a replacement. I'm grieving the relationship while still in it. This guy did the same thing. While he saw the relationship going down the drain, he found someone else to soften the blow. Here we have another case of victimhood. This woman keeps dwelling on what her ex did 9 months after the breakup. She still hasn't gotten over it? The guy was clearly playing 2 women at once, and she's still asking, how didn't I see it? Simple answer. You ignored it because emotionally, it suited you to keep dreaming. What hurts women the most is when their ego is played with. She feels betrayed because there was another girl before she even came into the picture. Let's be honest, the guy did what he wanted because he knew he could. If you didn't notice it earlier, it's because you didn't want to see it. It's quite possible that you were the other woman, and the one who never knew she was the mistress was you. As I said, these are the effects of dating a Chad.
Oh, you want to know another absolutely disgusting secret about men?
They have a giant group chat that's literally made for evil. And this is, okay, come closer. This is a safety PSA for literally, this is probably happening in multiple cities everywhere. But specifically, I heard about this one over the weekend here in the Midwest in Minneapolis. Continuing on the general theme of telling all my ladies in the cities to look out for these crappy men, this weekend my inbox has been flooded with stories from girls. Some guys I know, some guys I don't know. And out of respect and safety, of course, these women's stories are not mine to share, but we now do share the burden of the story, so that's terrific. Some things that exist. One of the things, though, that I had only heard an urban legend, but now have confirmation it's true because many of y'all have seen it, is that these boys have these group chats. I believe they're on Snapchat, right? Because no paper trail. And it's like, you know how women have like the Are We Dating the Same Man groups that have gotten out of hand, so I don't really pay much attention to them anymore. But like the original intentions for those groups was to watch out for other women and like warn them. So boys have a similar thing, except instead of good, they're doing it for evil. And what they do is before or after they hook up with women, they will send photos of these women in these group chats to share with all of the boys. Now, I don't know the details if there's like one really large one or just a lot of little ones, but I will tell you, I heard some of the names of boys I know who are in it, and I was shocked, okay? I did not suspect that. So for the love of God, tell your friends, tell your daughters, check up on your mans, okay? Even if you think you trust them, maybe just like keep a little heads up, because it's not just the photos that like you're sending them that they're sharing. They're taking the photos without your knowledge. And as someone who just started dating seriously again like a month ago for the first time in years, I already don't want to be here.
As we see here, the classic collective paranoia about men. This woman is convinced that there are secret chats where men share photos of women without their consent. Oh, of course, because every man has time to coordinate with others to do evil. The funniest part is how she generalizes based on stories from friends and strangers, without any real details. But did you hear when she said it's like the group she's in where they're all dating the same guy? Because when it's women who upload your photos and investigate you, it's called protection. But when men do it, they're predators. Interesting play on words for doing the same thing. The worst part is how she throws out a warning. Tell your friends, daughters, men. An attempt to spread fear without any real basis. If you go into a relationship expecting the worst, I guarantee you'll find it, because you'll look for it under every rock. This woman loves to paint men as some sort of villain, simply because she entered the dating world and nobody pays attention to her in her 30s. You know, the wall, because the wall doesn't forgive.
So, this is where we're at. Wish I could say I was surprised, but I'm not.
Welcome to the wall. In today's video, we'll see how this woman is going through a crisis because she's over 30 and doesn't have a partner. We'll take a look at part of her story, how she's jealous of her friend for having a man like the one she would want. And we'll also see how she breaks down from making this kind of content and sharing her life with strangers. We want to take a moment to ask all of our fans to subscribe and activate the notification bell, as channels like ours are seeing a drop in reach on the platform due to the type of content we create. Talking about these topics is not well received nowadays, and there's an effort to silence us. Only by activating the notification bell can you stay up to date with the new content we produce. This is the only support we ask of you, man. Share your experiences in the comments to guide other men. Without further ado, let's get started.
I have finally figured out why everything in my life has been finally working out for me. I'm talking, I will have a thought about something and then the next day it happens. So basically, I'm reading this book from Project 369. It's called The Key to the Universe, Evolved Consciousness. And it's like a beginner's book to spirituality. I mean, I'm not a beginner, but I could reread this stuff over and over. That's how interesting I think it is. And I realized that I am in a state right now called the Divine Bridge of Incidence. And basically what this is, according to the book, is when you don't currently see something happening, but you can feel it and you know it's going to happen. And this is directly from the book. You're no longer worried about when or how things will happen in your outer world, for you've already satisfied all you could possibly want within. If that doesn't describe exactly what I've been experiencing the past few days, then I don't know what else does. So it's really cool to have that, I guess, scientific explanation as to what's going on. I mean, the book does such a good job of talking about all things spirituality, like the law of vibration and frequencies, angel numbers, consciousness, manifesting, everyone's new favorite word. And again, it's just so cool to have that confirmation of what I've been feeling put into words. And I'm really excited too, because once you get further into the book, there's like an actual journal for you to manifest. So I'm so excited to write this stuff down and watch it start happening. I'm telling you, becoming more in tune with your spirituality and improving your relationship to self is the key. And I wish I knew this before, but it is the missing piece that so many people do not have that is keeping them from calling in everything that they want. Take this as your sign to build up your spiritual practice, start building up your beliefs about yourself, start embodying that person that you want to become now, live your life like you already have the things you want, and it's going to start coming in real fast.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Once I watched a documentary that showed how most of the people who spend their time giving motivational advice are often the ones with the greatest depressions. They use it as an escape from their own problems. It's pretty ironic for them to talk about achieving everything you want when they themselves can't get the partner of their dreams, which they constantly talk about. Here I wonder, how do women believe in this nonsense? If what you're selling doesn't work for you, why would it work for me? That's something someone with common sense would think, but common sense and women don't go hand in hand. Instead of aligning her life, she's just looking for an imaginary escape. The one who got her life in order was her friend. Let's see what she thinks about this in the next video.
It genuinely feels like such a loss when a friend that has been single with you for as long as you've known each other suddenly starts dating someone seriously or gets into a relationship. You're essentially grieving that old version of your friendship while trying to navigate what the friendship is going to be like with a man in your friend's life. And I'm currently really struggling with this because a very good friend of mine recently met someone who, in my opinion, is the epitome of the kind of man that she has been looking for her entire life. And I want to preface this by saying that I am so happy for my friend. Like, I have told her a million times at this point, like, I'm so happy for you. You deserve this. I love this for you. But I can feel that way while also simultaneously being very jealous and a little bit sad over it. And that's where I'm at. The reason that I'm jealous is because I hear so many good things about this man, and I see the texts that he sends her. I hear about the way that he treats her. And it's like, obviously, I want that. I've never received that. And I know she hasn't either. So again, like, it's just as new for her as it would be for me if it was me in that situation. And again, I'm very happy for her. But there's a part of me that, like, still simply doesn't believe that this is possible for me either. I guess that could be for a few reasons. One being, obviously, I have never been with a man that has treated me in the way that I would like to be treated. But also, it's really hard to believe that something could happen for you when you've just never experienced it before. And it's almost like the more that I learn about their relationship, the more it saddens me. Because I'm just like, wow, how is this happening to her? Like, I really don't think this could happen to me. Also, I just wanted to say that my friend knows that I feel this way. I've told her several times these exact words. So I just wanted to throw that out there in case anyone thinks that I'm being a bad friend. Anyways, and to make matters worse with all of this, it is extremely hard to see my friend experiencing this amazing, I guess we can call it a relationship that she's in, while I am simultaneously reconnecting with someone that has my heart and just not receiving that treatment, not because the person doesn't want to treat me that way. There's just some other circumstances going on right now. But regardless, it's just like really, really hard when you see someone being treated like the exact way that you want, and then you're currently not in that same place. But yeah, it's just really hard when you are so used to being single with someone else, and then they finally meet someone, and then you kind of feel like you're left out, or like you can't really relate to that person as much as you used to before. And I can't speak for anyone else, but it does start bringing up a lot of insecurities for me. And like I mentioned before, it's hard to believe that I could also experience the same.
The envy seeps out of her pores. I can assure you that the first person that friend will cut out of her life is this woman, because she'll realize she's competition. I've always said that women don't have friends, they have competition, and that's exactly what this woman is seeing. The question she's asking herself is, why her and not me? And that friend is making the biggest mistake by sharing everything she's doing with her man. That's why they end up losing their husbands, because the friend gets consumed by jealousy. There's always a friend who thinks she's prettier or better than the other, and when she sees that her friend, whom she considers uglier or less lucky, finds a man she'd like to have, the idea comes to her. Why go looking for something new or unexpected when I can just steal my friends? It's because of things like this that misery loves company. These are the women who convince their friends to leave their partners, simply out of jealousy. That's why I tell you, as soon as you start talking too much about your boyfriend to your friend, she'll cut you off suddenly because she'll see you as a threat. Women like this end up just like the one in the next video.
So, this is where we're at. Wish I could say I was surprised, but I'm not. I I don't have anything left in me anymore. I don't know how to describe how I feel other than just numb. I'm just so convinced at this point that it's just never gonna work out for me. I'm so tired of ending up with the same person just in a different body. I am so tired of putting all of my trust in someone and giving someone the benefit of the doubt only for them to completely not be able to fulfill any promises that they say they're gonna keep. I don't have another talking stage in me. I literally refuse to get on a dating app. I just literally don't know what to do anymore. I just genuinely don't understand why every single time that I step outside of my comfort zone, I think I'm doing something big by taking a risk and being brave and doing something I wouldn't have done in the past. It still ends the same way. And now I'm just like, is anything worth it anymore if I'm still gonna get hurt even if I do things differently? And that's the most frustrating part, is people are like, oh, you're the common denominator, like you have to do something different. I do something different and I'm still getting the same result. I'm so tired. All I want to do is rot all the time. I just don't understand what it is about me that makes people think that they can treat me the way that they do, and I'm nothing but kind to them. I'm nothing but honest and loyal, and I give people space to share things with me, so why can't anyone do that for me? And moving forward is just how am I ever supposed to feel confident about anything? Because it's it literally always just slaps me in the face. I genuinely cannot get excited anymore about anything because it's everything just lasts for such a short period of time. It's the second I start getting excited or happy about something, God or the universe or whoever is controlling my life is I love watching you suffer, so I'm just gonna sprinkle this thing into your life and just make you miserable. And I'm so tired. I just do not know. I don't know how I can move forward from this.
Here we see a woman going through a crisis. God has nothing to do with this. The problem is you and your high expectations when meeting someone. You want a relationship like the Disney fairy tale in your head, and you make every man you meet compete with the imaginary man in your mind. No one can win like that. It's not that you can't find a good man. It's that no one lives up to the man of your dreams. Why do you think she's jealous of her friend who says she found what she was looking for? Because she projected her own desires onto her friend, thinking they want the same things. Maybe you've come across better men, but you don't see it that way because other women didn't like them enough for you to like them. Women need to understand that relationships are built. You can't expect a man to come in with a script to play the role you want. That's why they lie to you, because they see that what you want is an illusion. They have to play that role to be with you, until the mask falls off, or they can't keep up the act. Instead of saying they are all the same type in different bodies, you should realize that if several men fail to win you over, the problem might be you. Not all of them can be wrong. The best thing for you would be to choose them yourself, so you'll likely get it right more often. But you fear rejection and don't want to take risks. I'll just say this, you're already 30, and the wall doesn't forgive.
I think what's making this heartbreak much different than other ones that I've experienced before, and also probably the worst that I've ever experienced before, is that what I'm upset about has nothing to do with the other person. Everything that I'm feeling is a reflection of how I feel about myself. I don't miss this person. I don't ever want to hear from this person again. I actually hope that getting ahead of myself. I am not going to finish that sentence because I am not going to wish harm upon others. Anyways, the reason that I am feeling the way I'm feeling is because, for lack of a better word, I hate myself. I hate myself because I have found myself in this position yet again. I hate myself because I have put years and years and years of work into my self-development, shadow work, learning about my childhood issues, working through all of that. And yet here I am still finding myself in the same position, which is why I no longer believe in spirituality and all of the things that I tricked myself into believing I had to do to avoid this kind of stuff from happening. Because at this point, I feel like I've literally exhausted all of the options to try to take accountability for the types of people that I have been going for throughout my life. And it's absolutely exhausting because I'm, again, trying to take accountability. I'm not trying to put all of the blame on other people, but it's gotten to a point where I've simply put all of the blame for this on myself. And because of that, I feel like it's always my fault when things don't work out, even though there is another person that's part of the equation. Another big piece of the hatred is simply coming from the fact that I feel like I can't trust myself anymore and I can't trust my gut because my gut was like leading me in all of what I thought were the right directions. And in the end, I literally was slapped in the face. So now I just don't even trust myself when making any sort of decision because what I thought was my gut, I guess wasn't. I really hate myself for assuming that things were actually going to be different this time. I hate myself for telling everyone in my life about this man. I never, ever share anything about my dating life with anyone in my life unless I think that it is actually going to go somewhere. The last time I told anyone about a man in my life was 4 years ago. And I'm so embarrassed that I now have to tell everyone that it didn't work out. And honestly, it's just getting so annoying hearing people telling me to give myself grace and be kind to yourself because I physically cannot do that right now and I don't even know how to do it. Everything that I'm trying, it just makes me want to go lay on my bed and do nothing. I am so tired of people telling me, you're gonna meet your person one day. All of this is leading you closer to the one that's meant for you. How do you know that? Like, I'm sorry, but you telling me that I'm going to meet someone is not helpful because you literally don't know that for a fact. And I understand that those are words of encouragement, but it's just so not helpful. But yeah, that's kind of the root of why this specific heartbreak has been the worst I've ever had in my life. Because I feel like it's just a reminder of all the work that I've tried to do to not make this happen, only for it to happen again. So it just makes me feel like a complete failure. And I just do not have anything in me. Like, I truly do not have an ounce of strength in me to ever have to go through this again. Like, I literally cannot.
I have an uncle who's a relationship psychologist, and once he told me and my cousins to always keep this in mind, for both men and women. Healthy relationships go in the direction of the man, but at the pace of the woman. Why do I say this? The man sets the path, leads the relationship, and commits to making his woman's life easier. Now, the pace of the relationship is up to the woman. She's the one who decides when to label it, when she feels comfortable. We're getting to know each other. He's my boyfriend. He's my fiancé. He's my husband. These may sound familiar, but they're labels that women give men as the relationship progresses. Many men make the mistake of wanting to commit or move in together in the first month, which goes against the woman's pace. As we've said before, women give access to the bed, and men give access to commitment. Why do I bring this up here? This woman is taking on the man's role. She wants to lead. It's clear she's been single for a long time. She's used to doing everything herself, and she doesn't let any man lead. This is what women mean when they talk about being in boss mode. Women like this struggle to maintain relationships because men get tired and can't put up with it. She should let herself be guided when meeting someone, allow things to flow naturally, instead of immediately trying to lead the man and dictate what's going to happen. Otherwise, she'll never have a lasting relationship, especially not with high-value men who won't let a woman control them. The irony is, her spirituality from the first video didn't work for her.
I wanted to give an update to those who are asking. I received tons of comments of people asking if I'm okay, and yes, I am technically okay, but I'm also not okay, as one could probably imagine. Honestly, I just turned off all comments because I really don't care what anyone has to say. I don't want to hear what anyone has to say right now. I will say I have read every single DM that I have gotten, and I don't have the energy right now to respond, but I don't have the words to describe how thankful I am to all of you who are supporting a random stranger on the internet and showing me so much love during this incredibly difficult time. And I appreciate it more than you know. I really do want to go and respond to every single person. I just physically can't bring myself to. It was not my intention to make anyone worried about me. I just felt like recording myself in a really vulnerable moment. People always ask, why do people record themselves crying? Why do you post this stuff on the internet? Believe it or not, it really is helpful for me to make videos and record myself talking, because if I let my thoughts sit in my head, it's only going to make it worse. So when I'm able to record myself thinking the thoughts in my head and post them, it makes me feel like someone's hearing me. And it's really just not helpful when people say, stop posting everything on the internet, which I don't. I choose the things that I want to post about. And, you know, everyone's like, oh, evil eye is real, and if you post about relationship stuff, it's not going to work. I just don't believe in that anymore. Again, this is my personal diary, and I'm going to post what I want. If you disagree with it, if you don't think it's the right thing for me to do, please keep that to yourself, and you don't have to watch my stuff. And to anyone wondering what happened, I will not be talking about that. I just simply don't want to share that. But I will continue documenting just like my thoughts about everything and the thoughts that I've been experiencing during this time. The hurt that I'm feeling and the anger and the sadness is not towards the person. In fact, I have no respect for this person anymore. I hope I never talk to this person again. Everything that I'm feeling is actually all towards myself, and I will get into that in another video. But anyways, I just wanted to come on and thank all of those who have been checking in. I have seen everything. I really appreciate it. Even though I'm not okay at the moment, I am trying my best to keep myself distracted and find ways to find joy during what has been honestly like one of the worst weeks ever. So thank you again to every single person who is reaching out, sending so much kindness and encouragement. It really means the world to me, and I hope that one day I can look back on this content and see how far I've come, because it definitely does not feel like that right now.
The problem with these women who make this type of content is that almost always they're single. Do you know why? Because no man wants to be with a woman who, no matter what problem she has, will come and share it with thousands of strangers on the internet, telling her what she should or shouldn't do. Your relationship will be dictated by what others say, and no man will accept that. It also harms these women because men already know what to expect. Just watching one video of her with another man gives you a clear idea of what's in store for you and how she's going to react. That's why she says she's tired of being used. But if you're an open book about everything happening in your life, how could someone not take advantage of your weaknesses? You're giving away your vulnerability to strangers when what you really need is to rise up and take control of your life. Crying, venting, and receiving messages of support won't fix what you're feeling. What you truly need is to break this cycle of self-pity, stop focusing on what went wrong, and start working on yourself without expecting others to save you. Life isn't going to stop for you. Stop seeking approval or comfort online and start taking action. Recover in silence, improve your life. Because the wall doesn't wait for anyone, and the wall doesn't forgive.
You got divorced.
I did.
Why'd you get divorced?
Okay, so this is the one thing I don't talk about a lot, and here's why. I have a daughter, she's 9, and my parents divorced when I was little. They didn't like each other at all, and that was really hurtful and hard for me as a kid, and probably my siblings. And so, yeah, it was it the perfect marriage? No, they never are.
Just grew apart.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Had different ideas.
We got married very quickly. We didn't know each other well, to be honest. We didn't know each other well, and the compatibility was lacking, and we gave it 10 years. We gave it 10 years, and I really
had a beautiful daughter.
And we had a beautiful daughter. Her dad is a great father. He's a great father. He'll always be an amazing father to her, and that's all she should ever know. So she should never have to hear anything about her father from me.
I love that.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll look at several women who decided to get divorced. It seems the divorce didn't turn out the way they expected. We'll see how one regrets it and says she loves her ex-husband, even though she was the one who asked for the divorce. These are the kind of women who lack emotional responsibility and don't take accountability for their actions, because responsibility is kryptonite for women. I want you to smash that like button and join the channel by subscribing. Add a bit of your support to the movement. That's the only contribution we ask for, brother. Share your experiences in the comments to guide other men. Without further ado, let's get started.
The court notified me that my final decree of divorce has been approved by the judge. I know that it sucks being alone. I come home and I'm alone. I go everywhere alone. I don't hardly talk to him anymore. I don't blame him. I filed for the divorce. So I'm sure people are wondering, well, you filed. Why are you so upset? Why are you crying? Just because you make a decision that you think is going to end up making things better doesn't mean that you have to give up the fact that you love that person or that you did it because you were trying or whatever. I've never met anybody like him, and I've never loved anybody like him either, but I don't want a divorce. I still am very much in love with my husband.
They say karma is AB*TCH. You ask for a divorce, take action, and when the outcome arrives, it bothers you. Now you have what you wanted, your loneliness. Here's another classic example of a woman who asks for a divorce but doesn't know what she wants afterward. First, she leaves, then complains about being alone and still in love. This is typical. They make impulsive, emotional decisions, and when reality hits, the tears and regret follow. She even admits it herself, "I asked for the divorce, but I still love him." This is an example of the lack of emotional responsibility many women display. If she asked for the divorce, it's because she didn't value what she had at the time. And now that she's alone, she's starting to realize her mistake. This makes two things clear to me. Either she can't replace what her husband did for her, or she realized the options she thought she'd have after leaving him never existed. Life doesn't have an eraser to undo the decisions you make, and now she's on the wall. Let me tell you, the wall doesn't forgive.
Yesterday I told my husband I wanted to be separated from him, and people keep saying sorry, and I'm only crying right now because that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. I truly thought I was going to be with him forever, and I still love him so much, and I wanted it to be different, but it's not. It's okay to be upset. This is 17 years of my life we're talking about. Somebody I shared children with, who I built a life with. So yeah, say sorry, but also say congratulations for also being really fucking strong, because that was not easy.
Stop it. Get some help.
Seeking attention through victimhood. 17 years of marriage with children, destroyed to prove what? That you're a strong and independent woman? This seems less like something painful and more like a trend nowadays. What are her reasons? Who knows? She'll probably say he neglected her, that she deserves to be happy, or that there was a lack of compatibility. There's always some weak excuse for these decisions because she simply doesn't want to take responsibility for her marriage. As you all know, responsibility is kryptonite for women. Here's the reality. She wasn't strong enough to endure the relationship they built together, and now she's looking for emotional validation for breaking something that took nearly 2 decades to create. She expects people to support her decision when she could have sought a solution to stay married. Brothers, the wall keeps collecting victims.
That was probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
This woman told her husband that she wanted a separation from him after being married to him for 17 years. Now, she didn't go into great detail about what happened, but we should all know and understand that he was incapable of loving her with his entire heart. Without words, we know she tried everything because her tears said it all. There was frustration in her tears. There was love in those tears. There was strength in those tears. There was bravery in those tears. So I'd like to say to this woman, congratulations. It takes a strong woman to ask for a separation after 17 years of marriage. You thought you were marrying a life partner who's going to love you wholeheartedly in return. We know you didn't come to this decision easily and that you struggled with it for years. You only get one chance at life and you can't waste it on someone who's not going to desire you and treat you like the special person you are. We are proud of you. We know you didn't arrive at this decision easily.
Oh, hell no!
There was an intention to seek attention in those tears because she blames the man for not loving her when she was the one who asked for the divorce. Who was the one leaving the relationship? Who was the one breaking their vows? You can't blame the man, not even when they decide to leave him. If he didn't cheat, if he fulfilled his responsibilities as a man, if he was a good man and she leaves him, why should the blame fall on him? It's advice like this that validates every decision women make, even when many of them make decisions, like in the second video, emotionally. It's only after those decisions hit them hard that they reflect and realize they've ruined their marriage. Now, she presents herself as strong, as brave for making the decision to leave. But here's the truth. She probably wasn't satisfied because she expected everything to revolve around her. Instead of focusing on building with her husband, she focused on what she wasn't receiving. And those tears, which stand out so much, are just a reflection of her frustration at not getting what she wanted.
Well, guys, I think you finally succeeded. I think I have lost the absolute last shred of hope I had that there's still good men left in the world. Just went on a date. I thought it was going well. Talked nonstop, not me, back and forth, for over an hour. And then all of a sudden he had to take a call from a client. And he never fucking came back. And I got stuck with a $90 tab for his beers and pizza. So, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. 4B movement all the fucking way from here on out. You guys suck.
Her pain is having to pay for a free dinner. Welcome to the world of men. Now she knows what it's like to be on the other side. When you take a woman to an expensive place and she's more focused on taking photos for her Instagram, where everything appears except the one who paid. She just experienced what hundreds of men feel. At least he gave her good conversation. Hold on to that. What's ridiculous is this new 4B movement, which is something like MGDOW but for women. I'll talk about that soon. I don't know what was discussed at that dinner or how the date went, but women on the wall will need to learn how to play the game because it's not as easy as it used to be. You all destroyed chivalry, and now you're constantly talking about being strong and independent. But this doesn't work so well when you're a divorced woman trying to get back out there. So don't take it too personally. It's just $90, the least you can do for a man.
If you're contemplating getting divorced, here's something to think about. If you purely want to get divorced because you are unhappy, which is a very good reason, by the way, to get divorced, still think about this. On average, studies show that 5 years post-divorce, people's happiness is back to where they were in marriage, meaning they are unhappy again. The happiness rises just after divorce because finally you're free. Finally, this person is out of your life. Finally, you can live the life you've always wanted to live, except often we don't, because there's so much baggage that we carry around with us that didn't just change because we got rid of the person that was in our lives. Maybe our unhappiness comes from our career. Maybe our unhappiness comes from society telling us we need to be great mothers and motherhood itself is sucking us dry. Maybe unhappiness comes from many other factors. But unless we address that unhappiness component, happiness will not rise post-divorce. You may want to ask yourself, is happiness truly your goal? And if it is, can that be achieved by working on yourself right now and working through what makes you happy with your partner? Because studies also show if you stick with the marriage and work on it, both of you, you actually increase your happiness within the next 5 years. So you could be happier in your marriage than divorced. Just some thoughts.
I'll agree with you that much of their unhappiness comes from within themselves. If you're considering divorce just because you're not happy, you're seeing things in a superficial way. Happiness is a fleeting state, and if you think divorce will solve all your problems, you're ignoring the fact that life remains hard no matter who you're with. This idea that once they leave their man, they'll find a new love and live happily ever after, well, it doesn't work like that. This isn't a Disney movie. Sure, you got rid of the burden of taking care of your husband. Congratulations. But don't forget that your husband also got rid of the burden of taking care of you. That means no covering your expenses, no fixing things around the house, no taking care of you when you're sick, no helping with the kids when they're with you, no giving you money to settle debts. This is what many forget. I'm happy, I'm leaving, life is good. Until the bills start rolling in, until they have to work twice as hard to maintain the lifestyle their husband provided, then they become unhappy again. Many of them were just house sitters, never really having to work for anything. When they no longer have their beta provider covering everything, they realize they're broke. It's no coincidence that many women who divorce lose everything they gained from the divorce within 5 years. Funny enough, it's around those same 5 years that they become unhappy again. Like I said, karma is a dish best served cold.
Divorce is harder on men. People do not think that divorce is harder on men because men move on quicker. But what they don't realize is that these men are grieving. They don't have a social network to talk to and to be supportive of them, so they're moving on. Men bottle up their emotions, and that results in depression and anxiety. Generally, they don't have a lot of people to talk to about this stuff, and they're not able to really express themselves and talk about the terrible feelings that they have. Generally, men's health declines. Many men self-medicate, turn to alcohol and drugs because they don't have a support system. And then they rush into new relationships because they don't want to be alone. Now, not only are they grieving over one bad relationship, now they have 2 bad relationships. And then there's the kids that they feel that they've lost. Their time sharing, their visitation is not always 50%, and they feel that they've lost touch with their children.
As I always say, respect to every man who gets back up after a disastrous divorce. It's not easy to lose everything and have to start over, older and more tired. It's true that many fall into depression, which is why I always tell you to focus on yourself. Take a day selfishly for yourself to disconnect and get out of the house. I mentioned in another video not to stay playing video games, and some were upset by it. But let me tell you, I've seen friends who use them as an escape, and it becomes an addiction, leaving them stuck at home. I prefer that you get out of your comfort zone, give your mind a chance to rest from the problems. But like I always say, this is just my opinion, and I respect everyone else's. What I do say, though, is that after a divorce, the only contact you should have with your ex-wife, if you have kids, is for the children's sake, nothing more. Don't be crying or showing her you're a mess. Don't give her that satisfaction. If there are no kids involved, then go no contact. Hit the gym, become a better person, and above all, focus on fixing your finances. Avoid falling into a spiral of self-destruction. It's like advice I once heard from a boss to a coworker. I know you're going through something tough, but tell me, will losing your job make your situation better? That snapped my colleague back into focus. Like I said, we don't have an eraser to change the past, but you can't let your past ruin your present. It's your responsibility to build it. Focus on yourselves, brothers. Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will see how a woman asks her followers what she can do at 38 years old to get a beta provider. We will also see how women complain that men on dating apps don't know what they want, and how many are tired of not being able to find a relationship. I want you to smash that like button and join the channel by subscribing. Add a little bit of your love to the movement. That's the only contribution we ask for, man. Share your experiences in the comments to guide other men. Without further ado, let's get started.
I'm just going to throw this out there. If you're in your late 30s and you've had a breakup a toxic relationship breakup, but now you're like happily married with the things that you want in life, maybe at your 40, 41, can you please drop a comment? Please. I just need a little bit of encouragement because this isn't working out. This is clearly not working out.
What's not working in life on the wall? Isn't strong and independent your new motto? Aren't single women the happiest in the world? Something isn't working, and I'll tell you what the problem is. Your expectation. You're an average woman who expects to get a high-value man. The problem is that you're a 6, but at 38 years old, now you're a 4 because your biological clock might have expired. So, what should you be looking for? A man who's a 5, a 4, or in the best-case scenario, a 3. But you want a 9. The issue is that those high-value men want younger women with whom they can start a family, and a 40-year-old man can easily date a woman in her 30s or even 25 who can offer him that. Is what I'm saying harsh? Yes, but it's the cold truth. The wall doesn't forgive. You don't need false encouragement. You need to hear reality. And at your age, you should be the one taking the first step, because waiting for Prince Charming, well, we can all see that's not working for you. So why not change your strategy and go after the man yourself? Maybe you'll get lucky and find a beta provider. But let's see what her audience had to say.
Do not be worried if you're 38 and single. Do not be worried if you're 48 and single. Do not be worried if you're 28 and single. Do not let society tell you that you were old when you were 38. I am 38, I'm single, I don't have any kids, I've never been married. I spent a lot of years going back and forth on feeling bad about that. Sometimes I wouldn't care, sometimes I would care too much. Like, ooh, definitely just heard a car wreck. Because of that, a lot of the actions that I took weren't healthy. After a night out, I would hate going home to an empty house, so I would just go after party. If something was no longer serving me in a relationship, I'd cling to it, hang on to it longer, thinking that I can just make this work. If something would end, I would jump back on the dating apps and I'd be like, oh my God, I need to find a date. And that would make me end up feeling worse because I'm very choosy on who I spend my time with. So I'd go on lots of first dates, not like anyone, and then think that it was hopeless. I got into some like pretty deep therapy from 36 to 37. I went to 2 different retreats at the Meadows. I worked with a therapist. I was with someone that went through sobriety. All the therapy like really leveled me out. Once I turned 38, the clock ticking has just dissipated. Such a nice place to be in. At the end of the day, I am not old. I have the rest of my life to find and spend with someone. Yeah, I have never had a burning desire to be a mom. I'd like to have that opportunity with the correct person. I froze my eggs when I was 32 because I was so invested in my career that I knew that was probably a good idea. I would love to meet someone that would make an amazing father. And I'm also coming to terms with the idea of maybe what my life would look like if that doesn't happen for me. And I wish that I had wrapped my head around that years prior. Now, if you're someone that absolutely knows that motherhood is in your future, do not let that dream die. Figure out a way to make it happen, and it'll happen. For me, that just wasn't my number one priority, and that's clear by the decisions I've made in my life. So if you're in your 20s or in your 30s or even in your 40s and you're feeling like everyone else has it together and you're lacking and you're scared, I hope looking at me and my life and my mentality can give you just a little bit of peace. There are other alternatives to ways of living your life that can be very fulfilling and very beautiful, and don't let society tell you otherwise, okay? All right, love y'all.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Well, congratulations. You've become the man you want to marry. Now, no man, based on what I see from the few you've met, can fill the shoes you yourself created. This isn't about a lack of opportunities. It's about expectations. You already answered yourself in your first video. You're not satisfied with anything, and you don't like anyone. So why ask for help if your inner man has the answer? He's hit the wall and made peace with it. The irony is that she asks her audience of women for encouragement, and then she wants to deliver a motivational message to other women going through the same thing. It's like someone with an illness giving advice to someone else with the same illness. Don't give up, we'll die soon. This is the typical narrative that modern women promote. Women in their 30s or 40s, single and childless, trying to convince themselves that everything is fine, that there's no rush. But the reality is different. Freezing eggs is just a way to avoid facing the consequences of prioritizing a career and partying over building a family. The biological clock doesn't wait, and postponing motherhood to find the perfect father is a risky game. Modern society wants you to believe that being alone is liberating, but what really happens is that time passes, and many are left without options, stuck at the wall. We all know the wall doesn't forgive.
Question for men that are on dating apps that are around the age of 30 or above 30. What is it you're still figuring out? Because I would love to know. Because I'm 27 soon. I'm 26, 27 in a couple of months. And I know what I want. Like, I want a relationship, I want marriage, I want a house, I want kids. At the age of 34, what is it you're still figuring out? You want kids, that's fine, you've made that clear in your profile. But what other things are you still figuring out? What are you not sure about at 34, even though you want kids, but you're not? What is it you're still figuring out?
It's not that men are figuring something out. Men are evaluating what you're going to bring into their lives. From what I see, you only have demands for what you want, but you don't mention what you're offering. That's where the problem lies. When you sell a product, it's supposed to help meet a need for the person buying it, not the other way around. This woman is looking for a beta provider, a man who can secure her financially for the long term. She's not in wife energy. She's in search of a ring, of checking off goals on her list. A man can sense that. If you want a man to give you the ring, you first have to convince him that adding you to his life brings value, that his life will be better with you, that his life with you will have more purpose than his single life. Right now, with everything feminists have said, men have become highly self-sufficient and don't see much value in marriage, beyond having kids, and some can have kids without giving any ring. Men don't have the same biological urgency as women to have children, so they can afford to wait. They are in their prime from 28 to 45, with good years ahead and more options with women if they have a stable life. So, it's better for you to start evaluating what you can offer a man.
Girls, I really upset some men in my previous video. Go and have a look and just look at some of the comments, because some men are getting very defensive and are not happy with my complaint on dating apps. But it's also been quite funny because all of the women that are commenting are just having the same opinion as me and are commenting on the same issue that I had. But yeah, there's about 100 men not content or not happy with women not being happy with how they operate on dating apps. So if you're looking for some entertainment, have a look at my previous video.
Oh my God! And here's the problem. You keep asking men questions, but you're not listening to them. You just say men aren't happy because they aren't meeting women's demands, but instead of focusing on what these men are telling you. Of course, women complain about dating apps because men don't operate the way they expect. But you know what? Men aren't happy with women's behavior on these apps either. The issue is that women have unrealistic expectations and get frustrated when they don't receive the attention or commitment they think they deserve. Instead of blaming men for not meeting those expectations, maybe they should look inward and ask themselves what they're bringing to the table. High-value men aren't there to validate your complaints. They're looking for women who bring value, not drama.
This video is going to blow your mind. So a popular dating app done a survey to find out why the men users were on the app, and the results are quite disturbing. So the age ranges that were polled were 18 to 34. We're going to give the blues some benefit of the doubt. We're going to pretend they're all 18 and 19. However, the next two, so 35 to 54 and then 55 plus, these results are alarming, seriously alarming. These are all men's answers. So essentially the question was, why are you on the dating app? Are you ready for this? Because I'm not. Prefer not to say, what? I don't really understand what that means. Next one, don't know. Next one, other. Like, what is wrong with these people? Like, they cannot answer, like, a basic question concerning to see what the app is like. Why? Oh my god, the next one. To have something fun, interesting to do. Why would anyone go on a dating app to find something fun or interesting to do? Is it just me that it is absolutely the trenches out there? Crazy. To boost my self-esteem. I'm not surprised by that one. So you've got, yeah, about 30% are saying that. To cheat on my significant other. Oh my dear God. But we will say kudos to the 55 plus. None of them have said that. And it is a low percentage, but still quite tragic and horrifying. To have casual sex, 30%. Not surprised by that, but at least people are being honest. To find a non-exclusive romantic partner. So does that then not fall into casual sex? I'm really confused why that would be too. So pen pals. We're going to get to pen pals in a minute because there are a lot of men who are on dating apps to be a pen pal. It's really weird. It's like a new phenomena. To find an exclusive partnership, kudos, 50% are on there. So basically means 50% of men who are on dating apps are not looking for an exclusive relationship. And then to make platonic non-romantic relationships. So if you take 25% and then 30%, so it's 55% of men who are essentially looking for pen pals. Now all of the women on here will agree with me. I've experienced this numerous times myself, where men genuinely want to be pen pals. They don't want to meet you. They want to they literally could go weeks on end, months on end, year on end probably, and just chat to you on a dating app. Guys, why do you do that? It's so bizarre. Like, yeah, I'm actually really curious. Any females that this has happened to, can you please put a comment? Because I'm going to actually, based on this, do a poll from this video. So for the men who do this, why do you do it? And for the women who see this video, please can you put something in the comments, because it is alarming the number of men who do that. Anyway, are you surprised by the results? Because I'm not, but it is also concerning. I feel like there's, yeah, it's kind of wild out there.
And if you asked women, 50% would say it's for a free meal, 30% to gain followers for their Instagram, others to go on trips without spending any money, paying with, you know what, and some demanding expensive restaurant dates just to take a picture that will show everything except you. This is alarming for women in their 30s, who see their pool of candidates shrinking. Another thing, only 20% of the men on dating apps are reaping all the benefits, while the remaining 80% are invisible. And the most ironic part is the ratio between men and women, because even a less attractive woman gets thousands of options for dates, yet still can't manage to find a man to form a relationship with, despite having so many choices. These results shouldn't surprise anyone. The reason so many men are on dating apps without a clear purpose is that many of them understand what these platforms really are: a shallow game. High-value men don't take dating apps seriously because they're filled with unrealistic expectations and mind games. Many are tired of going on dates that feel like a job interview for a position no one wants, with very few benefits. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What advice would you give to this 38-year-old woman who can't find a partner? Have you ever been on a dating app? How did it go? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.